Hello everyone, I'm Jash Patel and I'm going to present my mini survey on the usability of authentication methods and users' privacy concerns in online communication. Let's understand what does two-factor authentication means. It is nothing but an extra layer of security used to make sure that people trying to gain access to an online account are who they say they are. First, a user will enter their username and password. Then instead of immediately gaining access, they will be required to provide another piece of information to provide verification about their authenticity. This method of authentication has been adopted by a large number of websites and applications on the internet today. Even some popular brands like Google and Microsoft use this way in most of their applications. This is the most convenient method for the user to log in to their accounts and gain access to the information easily. And nowadays many websites and applications have made this the only factor authentication in the login flow. Now let's have a look at some threats against the two-factor authentication method. The SMS OTP based authentication technique is considered to be a vulnerable method against the local attackers. These local attackers can control a malicious application installed on a victim's device. This malicious app on the user's device is able to access the inbox of the phone and can extract any message that it needs. The only thing that the attacker needs to know is the phone number of the user. Then he can actually ask for the OTP from the legitimate application server. After the server sends the OTP, the attacker will simply grab it from the inbox using that malicious application and can have access to the user's private account easily. There are certain other loopholes in the security of the two-factor authentication like this. Many research has been going on nowadays to improve such flaws in the security of multi-factor authentication methods like this. Instead of having some risk as described in the previous part, we all know that the two-factor authentication is useful to get protection against security threats such as phishing and password reuse attacks. Even Microsoft has claimed that the uses of two-factor authentication can prevent 99.9% of the account hacks. But the main problem of this type of authentication is that very less number of people are adopting it as a second factor for securing their online accounts. Google has confirmed that till 2018, only 10% of its users had adopted the two-factor authentication for their Google accounts, which is even low for the Dropbox users. That is only 1% users adopted two-factor authentications. Here the question should be how to convince people in accepting the two-factor authentication for their benefits. There can be two ways to do so. The first one is tailored messaging to inform the user about their benefits in improving security. And the another one is applying the UX design in the enrollment prompt of the two-factor authentication adoption to attract more number of people to accept it. A survey was conducted to answer both the above questions regarding the acceptance of the two-factor authentication by the users. The participants were chosen from the user base of the Facebook from the United States who did not have the two-factor authentication enabled in their accounts. The procedure was simple. The users were shown the notification in their Facebook's news feed, and if the user clicks the notification, they would be taken to the Facebook's two-factor authentication enrollment flow. Here, all the activities of the users were tracked and noted for the deeper analysis on the survey question. Now let's look at the combined survey results. For this, we will consider the click to enable, that is CTE rates of the users, which means the number of users who click the enable button for the two-factor authentication on their account after seeing the tailored messaging or the UX design changes. Here there were in total 2 tailored messaging strategies and 3 different types of prompt design strategies were used for the UX design patterns to observe the users' reactions. During the survey, it was observed that the CTE rates were increasing significantly when these strategies were applied in real time. Let's have a detailed look on the impacts of UX design strategies on the user's mind. First of all, let's understand the 3 different strategies of this UX design pattern and know how they work in a brief. First one is personalization. In this type of prompt, the message is being personalized in such a manner that it shows the individual user's name and address them about the security of the account. Second is the opinionated reminders, where the application reminds the user about enabling the two-factor authentication on their account by giving some personal opinion about the benefits of using it and losses if ignored. The last one is the interstitial prompt, which is also known as the blocking prompt, where it interrupts the user in between some activity by blocking the activity and driving the focus of user on enabling the two-factor authentication on their account. As you can see in the chart, using the personalized prompt impacted highly on changing the user's mind, and the CT rates went more than 25%. while for the interstitial and opinionated reminders, CTE rates were raised for a specific amount as seen in the figure, that was 22.1% and 11.1% respectively. The overall conclusion of the survey was, if these methodologies were applied to influence the users, then it would definitely work, increasing the number of two-factor authentication adoption among the users. Now let's move to the new part, that is impacts on ways of online communication because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The online communication has been divided into three different categories based on the purpose of the communication. Those are work from home, learn from home, and socialize from home. Before the pandemic, everyone was pretty familiar with the term socialize from home because of the facilities of video conferencing and other calls available on the mobile phone. But the term work from home and learn from home were completely new to many people around the world. The only thing that matters to people in case of using these new online conferencing tool is their privacy and data security. Most of the people were worried about their privacy when the tool was accessing the camera and mic of their devices. The survey was conducted on the basis of questions designed regarding to the three categories mentioned before. It was found that certain measures need to be taken to allow people to personalize their privacy and security settings on the online conferencing tools, so that people can use it without any concerns and with the full trust. Just like insecurity of the privacy in online conferencing tool, the users also faces doubts while using the email communication. There was 3 email attacks taken into consideration, such as EFLMG, which is responsible for exploiting malleability of the block cipher, EFLDE, responsible for exploiting standard MIME processing, and Reply for exploiting standard email actions. The survey was conducted on the basis of all the 3 attacks, and which attack can be mitigated were looked out. The authors presented some details about the mitigation approaches of both the EFL attacks, and they also proposed certain variants of the Reply attack and their mitigation solutions, which shows that these issues of email attacks can be prevented by applying the mitigation solutions presented in the paper, and a new direction can be given to the end-to-end encryption in email communication. Now let's understand that how CAPTCHA codes are no more secure in this time of machine learning and advanced computing. Humans are now capable of training the computers about how to scan the CAPTCHA code and enter it to bypass the humans and verify as a robot. The algorithm used for such process is called adversarial machine learning algorithm. Looking at this, it seems like there is a strong need to develop some adversarial CAPTCHA code generating function which can protect certain websites and applications against such algorithms. The authors have suggested some strong perturbation algorithms such that it can defend the toughest machine learning attacks on the CAPTCHA code generated by the adversarial CAPTCHA. Here are the references to the papers presented. Thank you everyone.